Hi friends, my name is Griselle with Psychic MD and I'm here to do another reading for you. This time we're going to be focused on the collective and pretty much it's going to be whatever happens, happens. So my intention is simply for healing. I think I know what I'd like to read about, but frankly, as we know, whatever spirit wants, spirit gets. So it is what it is, right? We're going to go ahead and light some intentions here with my favorite charcoal toy, which is not a toy, but you know. So for those of you that are repeat offenders, I want to extend a super warm welcome. Thank you for stopping in. And for those of you brand new to my channel, I much appreciate your time, your energy. I hope that everyone receives exactly what it is that you came here for. I did pre-select a couple of cards. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Spiritual as F deck. It's a little saucy little deck that I really enjoy. And I thought because we want to focus on healing, it would be a great thing to do. And I already pre-selected 2 cards because they really resonated. And they might just resonate with you. So we're going to do this one. We might just do one. I'm not totally sure yet. Your wound is probably not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. You'll never be free of the people who harmed you until you take full responsibility for your own healing. No matter what family you were born to, what body you got stuck in, or what weird stuff has happened to you along the way, this is your life and no one else's. Be tender with the parts of you that are hurt and parts of you that are struggling. Take ownership of your whole beautiful, dented, pieced together self. If you blame someone for who you are, you give them ownership of you. That sucks. I'm trying to clean up my words, so. That sucks, doesn't it? Focus on what you can do right now to be your very own badass healer. And then bam. That's taking ownership. So I just thought that was really, really cool. Okay. So I'm looking at the smoke here, and to me, it just feels like there's been a lot, for a lot of you guys, a lot of strife, maybe even a lot of fighting. And it seems to go way back. This could be a lot of internal struggles as well. And it seems to be almost like, very much like the smoke initially coming out of the well. It feels like a well of darkness, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that's just how I'm feeling it right now. And I feel like this can lead to talking about your family lineage, family of origin, your DNA. I feel like maybe many of your ancestors, many of your family have undergone something similar to this, to where they're always like fighting, wrestling within themselves, wrestling with siblings, with family members. There seems to be no peace. And so that's kind of what I'm getting for some of you. We're going to get into it now though, okay? So the next I was led to, as we love to say. Let's see if we can get rid of this. And you guys, okay, here we go. That's fabulous. I was led to select some stars here, just so we can get a reading there. I kind of like the crystal scrying. It's just fun. It's different. And it breaks up the monotony of doing readings of the same old, right? I wonder if it'll do it better without. Yeah, maybe it's better. Let's see. So in this little crystal, I'm looking at what appears to be two people holding hands. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but to me it looks like a couple. So this could be like couples that are like drawn together but constantly fighting. It could be parents, it could be you and your significant other, or others, plural, depending on where you're at in life or what your path has been. I feel like also some of you guys feel like you've been sitting on the sideline for a while now. Whether by choice or design, there's almost like a person sitting right here, and then another two people right here, almost like back to back, one looking towards the future and one looking toward over the shoulder. So it's almost like one person living their life and the other one kind of watching what that person is living, which is kind of an interesting dynamic. Both of them have their little hands clamped together. At least that's what I'm seeing currently. Okay. I feel like that was more for the divine feminine in your family, okay? But it could apply to any of them. Let's look at this one. This is meant to represent the divine masculine, or the masculines in your family. Okay. So right away, what I'm seeing is like a big clown nose and big eyes, almost like a little bit of a Ren and Stimpy. I don't want to say goofy, and please don't be insulted, but I feel like there's a little bit of a not so serious, let's just have fun energy. Inability to take things seriously. And right here, I'm seeing what looks to me like a house. Do you see that? That's the top of the house. So there could be an element of like home life, home. I'm hearing a bird's eye view. But then the more I look at this, it seems almost like a T-Rex with a mouth open here. So it could be that this person, like some of the family members, yeah, it seems to be like a little bit of a monster vibe to it. To where they thought that maybe scaring you or scaring other family members when you were children was fun, or it was amusing, or that's how they passed the time. I don't know what the deal is with that. We're going to look more into it. Now, kind of like to look at this guy right here, because I feel like with this even, let's see if this even translates. I feel like these crystals don't look the same on camera. It kind of makes me mad. Do you see what I see? I'm just kidding. Not so much, right? It's important for you to see, to understand what it is that I'm seeing in this case. Maybe that helps. Yeah. Okay. See all the sparkles right there in the center? So I'm feeling like this is you. And I feel like you've been down a well or in a cave, or just simply not yourself. Now, this part doesn't want to transfer very well, but if I look down here, there's this like opaqueness to it, and it's a thin wall. It's almost like you can chisel this and carve out more of a hole or more of a diameter, if you will. Sorry about the soot on my hands. So I feel like with that being said, do you see that? I can get my finger in here. So I feel like you want to burst out of something. You're looking to get away from something. It could be a narrative. It could be some self-talk. It could be some family dynamics that you're really trying to overcome. It could be a combination thereof, because I mean, who is perfectly linear? Ain't nobody that I know. You can sort of see that better, but not totally. That's really disappointing. This crystal is gorgeous. Anyways, but yeah, so I'm seeing that you've been maybe placed in a position where you really value your peace. I feel like you have put yourself almost like in a snow globe or in like a little well, and I feel like you've emerged. It's almost like you're in a time capsule, and the bottom part of the capsule was a well, and that you've managed to like get yourself out of. And the well to me represents like anything that you were born into, any family dynamics that you could not control, things like that. And right now I feel like this is it's a little bit of commemorative. I can never, is that how you say it? A bit commemorative. Okay, so it could feel very much like you are isolating You are trying to have your peace, and trying to create a world, even with colors, using the colors in order to really help you feel that peace, feel that groundedness, and feel complete. But I definitely feel with this area right here, it's almost like there needs to be more of a breakthrough in order for you to feel like that cycle is completed for you, okay? So the last one, because it's sitting here and why not address it, I was going to ignore it, but that wouldn't be really cool because she's so pretty. So I'm looking at this and it's like, it almost seems to me like you've had to get out of situations and you've had to fight and crawl your way through it. And there hasn't been a lot of help. There's a great disconnect between you and your family right here. And I feel like even like the head of the family would always be looking down on you some way, somehow. Apparently just not necessarily supervised for some of you guys, yeah, but really to fall in line. Or you felt like you were being constantly watching, you couldn't be yourself. And that would be a whole different matter. So I feel like you could still have a presence looming, but that you have been able to get out of this deep, dark place all by yourself. I didn't feel like you had any support. And I do feel like your heart has been actually quite broken over this. I feel like this has more to do with family than love necessarily. Well, you know, love. Now I'm being drawn to look at this, and I feel like you've, you know, had a hard time maybe even sleeping, waking up, maybe even night terrors, maybe people screaming or strong disapproval of you that has served to really even fracture your heart further. I've never even seen that part of this heart. It's so cool. This beautiful agate. But there's things in your aura that you need to clear out. So clearing out your energy is going to be really important for you to have this breakthrough. I feel like you're really close to achieving what it is that you desire, okay? With that, that ends the portion of the scrying of the crystals, whatever you want to call it, right? So we're going to go ahead and use the Urban Crow Oracle. Show me what I need to see. For the viewers, show me what I need to see. Anything that's going to be helpful, anything that's going to lend and give us clues in order for us just to have greater understanding, more wisdom, whatever it is. And show me now. I want to take 3 cards. Perspective. Have you guys ever seen these crows actually kind of, I don't know if they were fighting or mating, but I mean, let's face it, sometimes it's the same thing. Just kidding. But, you know, sometimes they'll actually lock legs and spiral to the ground. And I've seen them kind of do that. And I thought it was pretty darn impressive. I don't know, but then I'm a little bit weird like that. So what else do we need to see? We're going to take this one. Mimicry. And presumably this is a crow trying to mimic the dog. And the dog's like, what the hell? I'm the dog. You're not the dog. I am the dog. The D-O-G. So we're going to keep these here. Show me what I need to see. How do these tie in? And show me now. What'd I tell you? It's a battle. It's a battle, you guys. So there has been a battle almost everywhere. But I feel like even this is like, yeah, inner battle, outer battle. And yeah, it could be battles to attain, you know, the most beautiful things in life. A struggle, even for some of you guys trying to get out of poverty and things like that. That would be a struggle. I'm looking at all the birds on the wire here. And now, I don't know how deep you guys have like jumped into the conspiracy theories and things like that. But I always look at these birds on the wire and I wonder, why the hell are you standing on wires like that when there's a perfectly good tree next to you? Like, they're supposed to be really sensitive and I don't know what. But there's been this thing where they talk about how birds are really surveillance. They're not really real birds or real animals. And I find that kind of fascinating just because my brain. And I always look at these birds and it's almost like a recharge. So there's a battle here. It's a battle within your family, but then I feel like there are times where you just want to rise above it and get away from it and recharge yourself. That is a message there. Also, it could be that even people within your family will like watch. It's almost like a sporting event to see who's going to fight with who and how they're going to like one-upmanship. I hope that makes sense. But whatever it is, I do feel like maybe perhaps you, I'm like, you were placed in a family that just doesn't feel like it's yours for some reason. With all the fighting and all the battles and things like that, it just seems incredibly out of place. I'm going to get one more, which means I'll have to move that card. Battle and observation. Yeah. So look at this. So I feel like you've learned how to mimic a lot of what, and who doesn't? That's what we're born into. We're born into families and we learn because that's what we have to work with, right? But it's almost like your perspective. You're trying to find perspective and trying to look at things from a different way altogether. And there are periods of respite, but you have been thrust in the middle of battles nonstop with family, maybe even with yourself, with friends, whatever. There's this great fog around your head, around the battle. It's like people don't know why they're battling. And it's mimicking basically everything that you have grown up with or everything that you have seen in your life. So whether you grew up watching physical fights and battles, a battle of wills, a battle of, you know, wanting to take your freedom back or their freedom back, whatever the case may be, whatever fight was involved here, you learned how to mimic that. And then you observe. So I feel like there could have been times in your life that that was all you knew how to do or wanted to do was the fight or flight. But the fact that even like this bird is mimicking, I feel like once upon a time you would mimic this. And depending on how you're growing, because you're almost out of this little enclosure right here with the crystal, I feel like you've learned how to imitate all of this and you can do it well. But now you're looking and seeking something different. And you're like, you know what? F that. I don't want to be like these birds. I'm kind of over that. I just don't want to do that any longer. And I feel like what this bird is actually mimicking is the dog. Of the bark of the dog. So I feel like you're learning new tricks, new tips, new things to really give you peace, to also preserve, because I feel like a lot of you guys are tender, and even with the sparkles here, you're just different. You're just incredibly different. So you don't belong to this family. Like that would not be your soul tribe or the people that you necessarily hang out with and things like that. I feel like you're seeking something different, something with loyalty, something that has a great guardianship, a great alert system, something protective or someone protective. So I feel like this could be a group of people like your tribe or friends overall, and that's what you're seeking. And so I feel like what you're doing is you're kind of imitating what it is that you see on the positive, like a dog can bark to get attention, to alert people, to, you know, and I feel like you could be the voice of reason to a lot of people. And I feel also that you don't necessarily fit in or feel like you fit into the puzzle of anywhere or anything, right? You're a great observer and you can imitate. Because of your loyal heart, I feel like you can be this crow that mimics. And this is about cooperation, by the way. So this is about helping other people, cooperating and integrating what it is that you've learned in order to prevent harm to other people. That's going to be for somebody, okay? So maybe think about like security or first line of defense or military or strategy. I don't know why I'm thinking poker, chess, anything like that. Even health, the first lines of defense of health. So I feel like that's something that you've learned, but also you've learned how to be a great observer. And I'm going to lift up this card here really quick. So I feel like in life you've learned how to be an incredible observer. You could be somebody who's like a networker or work on the internet, or you could be in IT or you know, affiliated with like the software, hardware, doesn't make a difference. I feel like you're highly esteemed because of all of the beautiful colors in the background. I'm not going to lie. I look at things and I'm like, ooh, shiny. That's so pretty. And it just kind of calms me. But this background imitates for me the crystal center right here. And I feel like that's what you're currently encloaked with. And in spite of all the battles that you've seen, in spite of the separations that you feel, because I don't feel like you really belong, that you feel like you belong to any one place. You're pretty much on your own. I feel like you're divinely protected, and there's a greater reason that we're able to observe. So with this with this particular crow right here, observing, this is like observing the spider and all of the traps that the spider sets and the people who fall into the trap. And I feel like you are someone perhaps that you are alerting people to the great spider, okay? And what traps people are falling into currently around you. So this could be even looked at on a bigger perspective of, you know, current world events. I know that's big, and people have differing ideas. But if you look at these, like, I mean, there's a mastermind, and then there's definitely people that just flew into the net and didn't even look, didn't even think, and they're pretty much like half eaten, half dead, or mostly just dried up bones and gone. And so that's just to me, like, they've given to the cause, or totally like immersed themselves without even looking at the big picture or even seeing the net. And then you see the city back here, and the city appears like pretty vacant, like there's nothing going on. There's lights on, but nobody's home type thing. So I kind of feel like it's almost like apocalypse vibes, you know, where you could be somebody who watches. Even another scenario would be like watching your friend get involved with a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, and this person starts hemming them in to where they have less and less freedom, taking them away from their friends, and your friend is starting to show symptoms of like trauma, abuse, and also not being able to be free like they were once before, just like calm and at peace. So you're noticing a lot of different things, and you observe those things, and it's a matter of what do I do? Do I peck at the victim, which is like, hey, letting you know, hey, you're in trouble here, this is like a big deal, let's get you out? Do I eat the spider? I mean, I don't know. And that's of course a little bit of a funny way of looking at things, but you can sound the alarm on different things. You could be somebody, because this crow has its mouth open, and you know, I feel like you just see things from a higher perspective. There's really no other way for me to translate this. I feel like your DNA and your ancestral roots go deeper than everything. And I feel like all of this fighting within and among is a mere distraction. I feel like you are not drawn to the distraction. You might look at the fight, but you're like, okay, this whatever isn't for me. But I feel like your DNA and fundamentally you're just so different even from your family of origin that you look at the deeper things. You look at and you were born this way. You were born this way, maybe a little bit shaped by design, whatever. I feel like even this crow's looking at me all skeptical, like, for real, Griselle? I'm like, yep, for real. But I feel like that's what's helping you soar. That's what helps you be different. That's what helps you create a community that is and safe and secure, and that your community is also loyal. I heard the word subterfuge, and I see a lot of like smog and a lot of nets. It's just, I feel like you see things from a really higher perspective. And I also feel like because you're so different that people give you this look that they're like, you know, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like they have no clue what you're talking about, because for some, even their mind cannot conceive. Okay. So let's look at other messages for pile. This is not pile. This is for collective. So sorry. For the collective. It's been a long time since I've done collective. Show me why these cards are here, please. This perspective, this battle, this observation. And show me now. I'm going to take this. Farewell to the moon. appreciate and enjoy the lunar light and cycles. So we will be taking this. I feel like you have a deep connection with the moon. A guide, a mentor, a trustworthy ally. There it is. And I feel like that's what you were down here to do. I feel like you're down here to guide people, to alert people, to help people, to even, I feel like serve to wake up and shake people up also. You could be a Gemini, but not necessarily. You could have a tattoo at the bottom of your spine. So I call it tramp stamp. No judgment there, I have one. But yeah, I feel like you are somebody who can look at things from a higher perspective and actually see what's coming. You could have like, you could be clairaudient. You could have visions. I feel like you are somebody who can connect the dots really easily. And it makes perfect sense to you, and your brain is on hyperdrive. Like, you can go from when this little bug was flying around all happy, doing whatever bugs do, to all of a sudden getting smacked in the face with this web and all of a sudden being stunned. Okay. And I feel like this is a battle for you. I feel like the fact that you have a higher perspective is really, really difficult, because it alienates you not only from what you're trying to get away from, but also from what you're trying to draw closer to. It also alienates you from the battles of the past to the battles that you are currently observing or even being a part of. Yeah, there's a big deal of separation there, because you can observe all of this, but in order to, like, how to communicate that, it's almost like you need to communicate in secret or in code, a little bit like how I'm doing right now. Then I have the Selkie in her skin. Reclaiming your authenticity. These cards are so beautiful, which just tells me that you need a lot of alone time, a lot of time to decompress. You could have really expressive, beautiful eyes, really sad eyes sometimes. But I feel like you have a higher vision and a higher purpose, and people may not get you at all. You may have like a real kinship for animals, for sea animals, or for crows, or for birds in general. Right? You may be somebody that is really drawn to other animals simply because, and especially because, people on this realm don't quite get you. Show me why this dog is here in the mimicry. I just keep looking at him. Show me why this is here, and show me now. Okay, I'm going to say right now what I heard was ode to self. This is about being your most authentic self, and you are a loyal crow. If we are the crow, then you're the loyal crow, but it doesn't make a difference. You have a higher perspective, and you're going to sound the alarm as you need to, because of your loyalty to yourself, your loyalty, and like you have a pledge. You made a pledge before you came on earth to be able to fulfill this role, and this is who and what you are. Yeah, look, Lemuria returns. Earthly spirituality, community, ocean conservation. And look, this one, she's pregnant, very much like the Empress vibes. The number 29, she was about personal power, about balance, learning how to balance. And look at her beautiful tail. It could look like a big wave of water over her, but I feel like that's almost her tail curling over in self-protective mode. And it's not really unlike this crystal right here. It actually has the same vibe to it. So I feel like you're birthing something that you're really self-protective about, but I feel like this is for the higher good. This is for people around you. This is almost like for the whole world, and it's hard to conceive, and it may feel and appear like a lofty thing, but you have just a little while longer before this little layer right here is ready to fall out, and before this lady is, this mermaid is ready to have her mermaid baby. So I feel like you see things very clearly, and things are about ready to be birthed, okay? So things could be feeling really rocky right now. You can be feeling really lonely, like things are just not going anywhere, and yet you can't like hammer your perspective to fit everybody else's around you. And I feel like your community is here, or your community is coming. I don't feel like I feel like you're the guru of the group in a lot of ways. I feel like maybe perhaps they don't understand because they don't have the depth that you do. Not yet. Show me what I need to see. Reflective. Thank you. Hello. Hello again. Okay, so the Lovers. We have the Lovers. And look at this flame right here, twinning. And it's funny because I have a bird here and I have the lion. Let's see if we can get this to come in clear. And of course, we're working with crows today. The lion, I almost took out, I have 2 little figurines of lions, and I'm like, no, I haven't used them at all for any of my videos. But I feel like this is about making a choice, because the Lovers is all about making a choice. But seeing these wrapped up, this is like you coming back to yourself, you trusting yourself more than anyone else. And I feel like just treating yourself like a tender bride, like somebody who is dressed like this, you're not going to take them to go motorcycle racing, or, you know, you're just going to be very, very tender. The way the groom is kind of touching her is very, very tender and very caring. So I feel like that is a part of you that's emerging, and maybe you are combining both of you because you came from darkness. And I don't mean to sound like, ooh, you came from darkness, from the pits out. That's not what I'm saying. But you did come from a family who was like really perturbed, disturbed. And that obviously had an effect on you. Maybe you had to develop a persona, or like a friend, or no, I don't know, like a way to defend yourself in a way, like if you need to cut a bee, you can do it. But that is not your nature, especially because I'm looking at the background back here, okay? So this tells me back here that it's almost like being encapsulated, encased. So I feel like, again, this goes back to like your most authentic self. Like that purity that you have, that desire that you have to really serve people. It's an earthly spirituality that you maybe perhaps want, a community that you want to help at all costs. And merging that with the person that maybe you've had to become, or your exterior self, okay? And that had a lot to do with even mimicry, like you were able to mimic these scenarios in your past, like with your family, or the whole fight thing. Maybe you learned how to fight, or you can fight, or you just learned how to be super tough because that's what was called of you. But all of that is going to make sense very soon, because I feel like these are combining. So you could be somebody who is known for being like really tough, and then when people actually get to know you and spend one-on-one time, they're like, wow, I didn't realize that you had a desire, like such a pure heart. It seems like the two are really opposite, but they're not. They are one. So you are encouraged to really continue working on your healing, working on your personal growth. And just like that card, that spiritual as F card that we opened up with, you know, that maybe you were not responsible for, you know, what wounded you, but you are responsible for your own personal healing. And I feel like part of that healing is integrating your positive and negative polarities. Okay, so I hope that this is making sense. The one last thing that I want to read to you, I'm gonna actually ring the bell. I'm having a problem speaking, so let's ring the bell for you guys who have earbuds or anything. I'm ringing it in 4, 3, 2, 1. Clear out the energy. You may have a problem speaking your truth as well. Like towards the end, I started getting it literally all choked up. Fall could be something that's like important to you, or like, I did my nails for fall, by the way. And yeah, you can tell I did them because they're all crazy and bubbled, but that's okay. We're not here to observe my manicure. My manicuring skills or lack thereof. Anyways, this card right here, it says a human brain left unattended doesn't shut down. It goes berserk with BS thoughts that turn into BS action. Ego will do its job of judging, separating, and accumulating things to define who you are without any help from them. But the soul needs your attention to be heard over that loud-ass ego. That's the reason most truly successful people meditate, read inspiring books, focus on gratitude, and are of service to others in some way. It turns their soul on. And that makes them way better leaders, problem solvers, and functional humans. It also makes them way more fun to be around. And that card was this right here. This here, right here card. Your brain speaks total fuckery unless you turn your soul on. So be sure that you are meditating, that you're taking the time to reflect, also the time to really truly meditate and get everything out of your mind and focus on your breathing, getting some of that old ass air from deep in your belly out. And trust also that this period of time you are designed and you're coming ever so closer to integrating you to you, your spiritual being with your physical being. You're encompassing that ever more so, and I think that you're going to be so much happier. So with that, I hope that that resonated. If you like it, please do like, share, comment, subscribe, and you can also leave me a comment about any other readings that you would like to have done. So with that, much love to you. Until next time, namaste.